Hi everyone. Fabric yardage is something a lot of fashion designers are not really familiar with, but on this video we are going to be learning about fabric yardage. There are a lot of things you need to put into consideration before accepting fabric from your customer or client or anybody you're actually sewing a dress for. Now, I want you to understand that there are fabric width and length. So before you actually confirm a style and accept the fabric, you should be able to measure it out and know if it's going to be enough for that style of fabric. And if you're actually sourcing it out, you can actually ask the vendor that the inches of the fabric you're actually buying. So let me actually give you an inspo on how it's actually done. Now let's take a look at this fabric. This one, like mostly materials are mostly high in weight than Ankara materials. So let me just this is how to measure. You measure it from the down, like the length, the width side like this. Why this is actually the length. So I'm actually measuring the width of the fabric. Okay. So this fabric actually completes 60 inches. This is exactly 60 inches. White, I think some Ankara like wrappers, they actually come with from 40 to 50, depending on the size of the wrapper. But mostly materials are actually 60 inches. So now before you start thinking about drafting your dress or blouse, there are some inches you need to add in order to avoid problem or mistakes. So I'm going to be showing you an illustration of what I'm talking about. Let's say that you actually want to draft out a pencil dress like this. This is my pencil dress. You want to actually draft it out. You understand? You have to calculate the full length of the, yeah, you can see you have to actually calculate the full length of the dress, then add some seam allowance. What did I mean by seam allowance? You could see there are some allowance that's added for the turning, so it was not exactly the allowance that was actually cut out. You could see there was extra allowance. So in drafting any style, make sure you actually had extra allowance in order to avoid any issues or mistakes. So let me give you a hint on how to get. If it's a blouse, you can add 1.5 inches. If it's a dress, you can add 2 inches for the length. If it's actually for a fillet, you can actually add 1.5 inches also, or 2 inches latest, like 2 inches too, in order to avoid mistakes or any other thing. And you also should know, or you know, the kind of material you're working with. There are some material that actually shrink while sewing, so you need to be very conscious about the material you're working with and know the quantity and the quality of the material. So this is how you should calculate it. So before accepting any design, you have to calculate it and make sure it's going to be sufficient for the style you're actually working with. Thank you for actually watching this video to the end. Until I see you next time, have a wonderful day.